the artist is more important than ever in times like this, because they can be an outlet for protest, frustration. That's a way to have a voice. When you want a lot of people to get together, you can unite them through music. This has happened with civil rights in America, with the whole free jazz movement and such and such. And it even happened with the rave scene in London.
I want to do this forever. It's all I've ever done. And I never take it for granted, and I think if you saw me DJ, I DJ with a smile, and I dance, and I get into it, lose myself. I don't treat it as a job. I'm very thankful, and I think that's the blessing, that I'm still able to do it.
I've DJ'd for 28 years. So my first gig I was 10 years old.
For me, when I first was introduced to like techno music, I never realized that it was actually made in Detroit. I always thought it was like European for some reason, because it just sounded so, I don't know, what maybe remote or just so far away, so futuristic that it couldn't possibly be from here.
Not anyone can be a DJ, and it's something that people don't really find out until they go on stage like that and they try and do it, and you either got it or you haven't.
I don't want to sound kind of negative, but a lot of the kids that come up, they think DJing is standing on stage and going like this, and it has nothing to do with being technical and not really much to do with the music. It's just about standing there and jumping around, and for me that's not really DJing. DJing was someone that has their music and they present it to the people and do their best, and they try and work the music that they have, and it's kind of a dying art.
I think you have to earn your wings in this business, man. You gotta go around the block a couple of times before you know what it's about, and then I think then you get to the core of what it's really about. For me, it's always about trying to connect with the crowd and be there on the night.
Music for a long time, you see different fashions and different styles kind of come back, and now is kind of very similar to maybe the early or mid 90s, where there's some minimal, there's tech house, there's tougher kind of techno, and there just seems to, there's a new generation that are into it now, but it's very similar to something that's happened already.
But you know what, it doesn't matter, because the vibe is totally the same. And that's the great thing. There's new people getting into it. I think people are finding what's cool and what's good again. Trying to find some roots in it all, with some real groove.
It's like a whole culture now that seems to be accepted even by the mainstream. So you get the people who come because they know who the DJs are and they really follow them and they know the music. But then you also get people who just want a good night out, and they sometimes make the good pie.
There's definitely something that's been lost in the transition from vinyl to downloads, and I mean, it's not, obviously you don't make money if people download your tracks for free, but it was never really about the money. But I think it's definitely made music not worth as much.
Now you can go on YouTube and find anything, whereas we had to rely on being able to find stuff. Wow.
Sometimes it lacks soul or depth, these programs, and it's almost like a quick fix. You go get the computer and the programs, and it pretty much almost does it for you, and before you know it, you can have a record out. Boom. But it's almost seems it's an overkill. There's so much of that going on, but it's almost like, okay, that record's here today, but it's gone tomorrow. It's already forgotten. And there's so many of those happening. And I think that's the downfall of it, the downside.
I'm not one of these anti-internet people. I don't think it's ruined the music industry. In fact, I think it's revitalized it and saved the music industry.
Nothing's ever the same. Everything changes all the time.